My people, what I know. We back with another episode of All Black Men Need Therapy. My name is Chief.
My name is Prentice.
And Bell ain't here. That's kind of crazy how it flew from Chief to Prentice. Normally Bell then Prentice, you know what I'm saying? So we in the groove thing. Bell's late. He probably sleeps somewhere. He missed the cue, so we just keeping the party rolling without him. You dig? P,
we're moving.
The people happy you back, man. Well, I'm happy you back. You know what I'm saying? Although I was just, out there kicking it with my homie partner player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Yeah, we had a good time while you was out here, man. But yeah, I'm glad to be back on here and get some consistent therapy, because this is actually going to be my introduction into real therapy. But I'm looking into it, so I plan on starting it within like the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I failed you. I failed you, bro. Because I told Bell my mission when I got out there was to don't leave until I find P a therapist. And we was just cool and vibing. That it just slipped my mind, but just we just didn't have time to dig into it. So.
Crazy. The irony is that the whole visit was therapeutic, but you talk about sure. You failed me for coming out here and not finding that some therapy, man. But yeah, I'm gonna get it done within the next 2 to 3 weeks, man. Just trying to get busy.
I make sure you get your connection. Make sure you get your connection straight, B. Like, you know what I'm saying? You in and out, and you know what I mean? I don't know what's going on over here in your hood.
It's messed up.
No, you good. You good right now. Don't touch nothing. You're gonna mess it up. Just leave it like it is, cuz.
Oh shit. I gotta figure out how to use this shit anyway, man. Because just for all of our listeners, for those of you who didn't know, I've been on Samsung for you know what? I'm not on the Wi-Fi. I've been on Samsung for 12 years and I just got my iPhone today. So,
he done being childish, y'all. He grew up. Like, you know what I'm saying? He on the Apple wave now, so we moving in a better direction. Our group chat is blue now, so we moving in the right direction. P, it's been a while though, man. Check in. The people ain't heard from you in a minute. Talk to me.
Yeah, man. Some major transitions just in life. I think having to adjust to new schedules and new ways of the family functioning sometimes gives me anxiety when it's not like in a set place. I do better under structure as far as like daily movement. So I think that threw me off, along with what I kind of touched on before, just kind of working on this initial phase of, important relationships changing in my life and trying to figure out, how to go on, how to go forward, how to heal from certain things, you know what I mean? And how to stand your ground on certain things, man. So I think a lot of things were impacting me. Well, not a lot of things. I think that specific thing was impacting me way more than I was allowing myself to feel. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think I was kind of trying to maybe skim over it, but I can feel that it's not that simple, man. Like it's too serious and too big of a deal for me to just kind of try to put it in this place without really dealing with it. So I think that's what's really getting me into therapy, man. So I think that really affected us on this podcast for me in a way, honestly, because even though I was super busy, the idea of even trying to publicly process while feeling what I was feeling on my own, it felt a little too vulnerable, if that makes sense, man. Just kind of talking about shit right now is just at a space that I kind of think I was going through a little too much internally to even talk about anything while trying to act like I was okay.
That makes sense. Now, that makes sense. And that's a nugget for somebody listening who might be going through something similar. I mean, situations and circumstances might be different, but the overall encompassing theme or theory behind it is powerful, man. That's real. Like, you know what I mean? So you kind of needed your moment, but didn't realize you needed your moment until you had your moment, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So I don't if that makes sense.
Yeah, or kind of like fighting the moment. You know what I mean? Fighting the idea of a moment. I'm learning some things, man. So I got to get into this therapy, but I'm learning that, I got to think now at this age where I'm like, I don't like people having emotional control over me, right? So I got to be able to separate that from maybe therapy directly. Like I got to, I get mad that somebody else has me emotionally damaged, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or emotionally upset. Yeah. I get mad that I can't prevent that from happening. You know what I mean? So I kind of think I connected therapy to that as well, because I feel this way as a result of somebody else. And now I got to consider therapy as a result of it. You know what I mean? As if it's not way deeper than that, man. So
right.
I can go on about this shit, but
that's
it's
crazy because Bell's very similar in that regard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like in terms of that processing that emotion. Same way.
And that's new for me. Like I didn't always think like there's some transition that happening right now. Like that's new for me. Like being so focused on not allowing people to have emotional control over me, and when they do, how I'm responding to it. Like it's making me frustrated and upset, you know?
And that's I mean, again, you know, what they say, life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% about how you respond to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's huge. What else you got for me?
Oh man, life, man. We living, man. We breathing. We're happy, you know. Kids is moving and shaking, man. I don't, other than those adjustments, man, life is beautiful. But I was like, you was just out here, man. Life is like it's great.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah. So on my end, man, work is still a little overwhelming for your boy. Like it's still heavy. Every day it's just tripping. I mean, so principal always says 80% of our problems are caused by 20% of the population. My job is to deal with that 20%. You know what I'm saying? So every day is some bullshit. Right. But today, I've decided today that I'm not, and this ain't just white people, but in particular at work, I'm not letting these white people ignore me no more. And it's little things. Like I walk in the hall and I'm like, yo, good morning. And I talk really low at work. So I'm maybe he didn't hear me. And I'm like, good morning. And dude still didn't say nothing to me. I'm like, yo, you didn't hear me say good morning to you? Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Good morning.
Staff, are you talking about students?
Staff. This is a staff member.
Oh, no.
But it happens often, fam. It happens often. And I'll be like, you know what? Maybe they didn't hear me because I speak low. I do speak really low at work. And we got masks on. So it makes it even worse. But I'm like, nah, you're not about to do that to me no more, fam. I'm checking everybody. Next person I see, I say good morning to, they don't say good morning, I'm checking them off the spot. I'm not saying it twice. I'm saying it once.
Why you decided that today?
Just because I've been tired of I've been trying to give them a pass and they don't deserve it. Like it's common courtesy when someone says good morning to you, you respond with good morning, whether you like me or not. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a good morning. It's a greeting. That's it. I don't get that. Nah, I got a problem with that. You don't get to be rude, fam. And then, like I tell my kids, like regardless of what, you don't get to be rude, and that shit is rude. So I'm checking them. Period.
Is it difficult?
No, it's not. I kind of just like brushed it off, like yeah, whatever. But I'm like, nah, you don't get to continually ignore me when I'm being kind. And I normally would brush it off. I'm like, nah, check them. And I felt like he was a little intimidated today too, because I did like, yo, you didn't hear me say good morning to you? Like loud, and like kind of like almost one of them, like you ain't hear me. You're right. Right. So I felt like I intimidated him a little bit, but I mean, it is what it is, fam. You know what I'm saying? Like I bet you he says good morning to me first tomorrow.
All right, yeah, man. Sometimes you gotta train people how to speak to you and interact with you, man. I think, like we get upset sometimes that people don't respond the way we want them to. Sometimes we gotta groom these motherfuckers, man.
Nah, word. I'm gonna say this other topic for another day, but I want to get your opinion on it because when I want Bell here, because I got some issue with my biggest one in college. He pissed me off a day to a point where like I'm super disappointed, man. Like to a big degree. Nevertheless, I told you Bell and I decided what the topic was gonna be, and we didn't. I didn't tell you prior to the show. I want to see if you could instantly pick up on it and pull something out. Today's topic, P, what is your toxic trait? So I was talking to my homegirl, shout out to Reese. I was talking to her and we was just going back and forth, and I'm bragging about how I'm really content with I'm happy with the growth that I've made. Like I'm moving in a really good direction. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm constantly finding better ways to better myself. And I'm talking about from reading memes to books to listening to people to whatever. And I'm just like, and she's like, yeah, but what's your toxic trait? I'm like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, and my answer was, I don't really know because I don't date myself. And I was like, yeah, I've been doing so much work that I really, I've tried to rid myself of all the toxic traits. So let me reflect back on what they might have been. And I got something that I think, is relevant and many men might be able to relate to. But before I get into mine, Talk to me, P. What do you think right now off the rip is your toxic trait? Should I tell you what I think your toxic trait is, and then you can
go ahead. Yeah. I'm curious.
So I don't know if it is I don't know if this is really a toxic trait. What I do know is you're angry, bro, and not that that's like, it could be, angry black man type thing, but it's like it's like you carry a deeper rooted anger that you've yet to acknowledge and let go.
And you can see it.
I don't think you're aware of how it shows up in the world and how it comes out.
And I know what you said to me while we was here, man. I know with it that stood out to me. Where you saw it?
I don't think I saw it. No.
You heard it was me telling you the story of how I was talking to Tip when he was playing shitty for that first half of the football game.
Nah, because I get the football in that. So that didn't really what caught me was when we were on the phone before I even got there, and you were telling me about when you and Sarai was going through it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, we get so caught up in our own emotions that we don't recognize how it's coming out. The situation plus our own shit that we don't even realize is there is just compounding the situation and making it come out even worse. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. Do you agree with that being identified as a potential toxic trait?
Yeah. I think it could be a potential toxic trait. I don't think. I think if I'm thinking and not correlating to what you said, I don't like anybody getting one up on me, and I'm too willing to take it to places that I'll regret, if that makes sense, of the sake of not losing in conflict. You know what I mean? So
if you had to put a word on it, it's not competitiveness, is it? Like,
no, you know what? It's a lack of self-control, to be honest, because I'll consciously in my mind have a game plan a lot of times after conflict occurs for the next time to be able to think about that shit again. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I'll be in a moment like, okay, I said I'm gonna work on this, but I don't show the restraint, and I can't place it. I can't place it on Sarai. You get what I'm saying? Like, if that's my responsibility to keep myself in check in these moments that I'm foreshadowing are going to come at a certain point in time.
Right.
So I don't place the blame there. So I say, like, it's the lack of self-control. It's the have to get the one up. You know what I mean? And it's the hypocrisy in when I try to be cool and then she don't try to be cool. Oh, motherfucking man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm over here showing restraint, and you get what I'm saying? So there's some hypocrisy there too, man. So I think that's the first thing that really pops up in my head that I think can be a vicious cycle, man, because you allow yourself to go somewhere all the time. There's not going to be any growth in you.
So does that, I think that kind of ties into your original point. Like, someone, whether you realize it or not, someone has now gained a little bit of control of your emotions, because in your calm state and they're not, it triggers you to.
Yeah, so I'm learning how to get down the remaining calm during conflict. I think what I'm going to have to work on more is, am I mature enough to handle the after party? You know what I'm saying? Like, like what occurs after the moment's done, or am I going to somehow convince myself that there's something else I need to say, or that somehow I'm disrespected or violated? Can I stand still and just being who I needed to be in that moment in order to show myself growth? You know what I mean? Like, it's like that after step that I gotta learn how to find comfort in.
Got you. Okay, that was a lot. I'm still a little confused.
And another thing I used to do, this was really bad. I used to let my marriage play way too much of a role in my anger in this relationship, man. My previous marriage, like, just if I felt there was any similarity, I just automatically felt validated to being triggered because it reminded me of a shitty ass relationship. And this shitty ass relationship shouldn't be rearing its head in any type of way in this amazing thing that we have. So it would make me even more upset when I would see it during times of conflict with us, because we genuinely have a good relationship. You know what I'm saying? So when I see something of, you said what?
No, go ahead. I was saying y'all do. I picked up on that when I was there. Y'all got a real cool vibe.
Yeah, it's real, man. So when something rears its head of that magnitude, it automatically triggers me, makes me upset that it's even in this area. I use that frustration to fuel whatever conflict is going on instead of acknowledging it. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Instead of being like, okay, I know I'm mad about this, and I know that's really hard to do. So I haven't gotten that done yet, but I used to allow my marriage, man, and the conflict during that and anything that resembled that to affect how I spoke, treated, or talked to her during times of conflict. I was too hard. Mm. You know what I mean?
No, that makes sense for sure. I get that for sure. So,
and feeling validated. So that's the toxic trait, feeling valid in that behavior.
Oh, well, yeah, that's definitely the toxic trait right there. So
yeah,
the validation behind that is what makes it toxic.
Yeah.
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 Sure. Yeah, that makes complete sense now.
What about you?
So when I was talking to my homie, I was just, one of the things that came up, and this is a form of behavior. I'm not like, this isn't one of them I'm supposed to say because we're on a show called All Black Men Need Therapy. Like, I really have been working diligently at preparing myself for my future, for the next relationship, for, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've really been diligent about being the best version of me. So with that, I looked back, and it wasn't until maybe a couple months ago that this really hit me. I got into a beef, and I realized one of my toxic traits is, and maybe you could help me put a word on it, P, was I always found a way to not take full ownership of what it was that I've done. And what I mean by that is, if I do something to make you upset, P, and my intent was nowhere near, it had nothing, like there was no way I thought it would make you upset, but it made you upset and you expressed that. In my head, I'm going, you know what, my bad, B. I'm sorry to make you feel that way, but this is what I was doing. I was so big on justifying my point that my apology was for naught, because it still made you feel like I didn't validate your feelings. I think we do a bad job, or just men in general do a bad job of acknowledging one's feeling and letting it go. Like, it doesn't mean, like, you felt upset. Whatever I did made you upset, and I gotta own that. I can't continue to try to justify it because my intent wasn't to make you upset. You know what I'm saying? So whatever situation was, I was like, yeah, I did this, but you could have looked at it like this instead of looking at it like that. Like, I'm trying to change the way you look at it so you feel comfortable in why I did it, rather than going, okay, you were wrong. What you did made them feel a certain way. Acknowledge that and let that be, and don't make that same mistake again. But instead, I'm going, Pete, come on, man. You know that ain't how I get down. You know that's not what I meant. You don't got to take it like that. You'd be like, yeah, I know, you're right. But no, that's not the case. Whatever I did made you feel upset, and you're entitled to feel that way. I did a bad job of validating that. I would acknowledge it because I didn't like the way it made you feel, but I still put too much pressure and time on trying to get you to understand why I did it, rather than just going, she didn't like it, don't do it again, or he didn't like it, don't do it again. And that shit is toxic, bro. Like, it was to the point where, like, it almost be like, yo, nothing's ever your fault, bro. Like, you don't do nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying?
And what do you say to that?
And I'd be like, no, I own what I did, but you didn't look at it this way. I'm still in the middle of my bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I acknowledge what I did. I said I'm sorry, but you got to look at it from my perspective. And until you do, we gonna have a problem. Rather than,
and that's your perspective.
That's my thing. That was my mentality. Like, what I did was wrong, and I said I was sorry, but you still don't see it from my perspective.
Oh, okay. So you need to be validating your point.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm like, you don't have to be. What you did made them feel a certain way, and they're entitled to feel that way and express that. And when they do, acknowledge it, maybe explain where you're coming from, why you did what you did, but you don't have to impart that on them so they can understand the same thing too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's big, man. You definitely, yeah, that's big. That's something that I think I'm sensitive about, when, especially if you're dealing with somebody who's not comfortable necessarily expressing maybe how they feel in certain circumstances. You know what I'm saying? Like certain people, it becomes a love or feelings or emotions or things. That may be some arena they're not really comfortable in talking with. So sometimes you got to let them get it out and let it just sit still so they know it's a safe space to put out there.
And the crazy thing is, because I believed I was so good at communication, I made it comfortable and gave them a platform where they felt comfortable speaking this, but there was always a but. I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but I understand how you feel, but you know what I'm saying? And that shit was like, and that's what this last situation that happened with my homegirl I was telling you about, the one, you know what I mean? The most recent one. And I'm just like, and she told me how she felt. I acknowledged how she felt. I apologized, but I still kept being like, but you don't see from my part. I didn't mean it like that. It's nothing to get mad over, like blah, blah, blah. No, if she got mad over it, then apparently it was something to get mad over for her. And I need to accept that. And I essentially didn't. And you know, it shit went left, way left.
You know, it's crazy. I've been on the total flip side of that coin, man. Like always listening and taking in information and not giving out a butt.
Yeah, see,
like I've been on that side, man, like not feeling comfortable, secure enough, or just wanting to avoid what you know is a whole nother stage of conflict. So just shutting up as far as my side. And I trained myself for years in my last relationship, man. I think because she was so unhappy verbally to me, I trained myself to just take in whatever issue she had with me, because I knew all I can control was my actions and my behavior. Mm-hmm. So at very minimum, I can listen to what she has to say, take it in, and regardless if she works on what I need her to work on, or if I ain't got nothing I'm asking her for, I have something I can focus on, and it's, you know, trying to please her. And I think I did that so much that I stopped learning how to speak up for myself and say, but. You know what I mean? So I think after a while, you become
a punching
kind of like a verbal pincushion, man.
Yeah, a punching bag. Yeah.
Yeah, people can constantly put them in you, man, and nothing's coming back out. So I kind of had to retrain myself to learn. So then comes that switch where it's like, okay, I got to learn how to speak up in certain circumstances off top. But then I had to find a balance. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going from not speaking up to figuring out, you know, where that range is that's comfortable and respectful and feels right, but you got to kind of gauge it. So I found myself, man, you know, going at 10 when I should be at 7, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But just learning that balance, man, it's crazy. But I've been on the other side of that, man.
Now that makes sense. So the part with me is, even with the but, I'm so good and effective at communicating what the but is. It's worked in, I can say in my favor, but it's benefited me in the sense that, oh, I can get this. It's almost like manipulative, if you will. Like it gets them to go, oh, you know what? Maybe I could look at it like that. And now I'm like, all right, I'm good. So my fuck up wasn't that bad. And that's not you know what I'm saying? And that's not the truth. Like I gotta own my shit and sit back and go, yo, this is how it is. Accept that and let it be. You know what I mean? So P, if I had to ask you, what would you, I gave you what I thought yours might be. I mean, you know me well enough. What would you say? I mean, and this is another note right here, fellas. If you got friendships that are important to you and people are going to be honest with you, ask these questions and learn about yourself. I would love to like sit down with an ex or somebody I used to date and have them tell me what their perspective of me would be.
So I was just, me and Sarah was talking about this a couple of hours ago, but you're genuinely one of the greatest people I know. Like, you're a good fucking person, but like, they don't make people like you. I don't think people, unless somebody knows you, they really don't understand what I mean when I say that. So when I think of like toxic, the most toxic thing I can think of is the story you told me about going to your daughter's games. and what you do
Yeah,
with the whole stands and the bleachers and how it was reversed for me.
And you listening to you, I think I texted her mom when I was there. It was yo, and I was like, yo, we not doing this no more. Like, we're gonna sit on the same side and she gonna see everybody there supporting her, because I don't want my daughter being the girl in her 20s. Like, yeah, my parents never said, they always sat on the opposite sides of the stadium.
And I'm that parent. You know what I'm saying? I'm that parent. Just like, why ain't we sitting together? We ain't got to be separate. Let's let him. You know what I'm saying? So, I think if I was to put that that into, I don't know, like a character trait, willing to keep certain wedges there when they don't have to be, especially if somebody's showing that they're willing to lift it up.
And that's,
but for whatever reason, feeling the need to reinstate, nah, we got this wedge right here, and we gonna keep this wedge right here. You know what I mean?
And you know what? Until you put it like that, I never realized that I was doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew I was doing it, but I just didn't care, because to me it was whatever. She got hers, I got mine. Peace is good. You do your thing over there, I do my thing over here. But in actuality, it's impacting my daughter in ways I may not know.
Exactly, and it's not about and you making it about you now when it got to do with her anyway. The only reason why you there is because of her. So
that's the thing. So now I text her and I'm like, yo, we on the same side. Like, it is what it is. My mom's and we all over here.
Cheers, man. I really hope, I used to really try to push for that. Just gotta kind of let people do what they do, man. But yeah, they're gonna see that, man. And especially, I feel like my perspective is, especially, we talked about it, like, especially if your parents ain't together and you don't see each other often, other than maybe exchanges or drop-offs, like, y'all can at least hold up the same kind of sign. You know what I mean? At least get a jersey, get a t-shirt made. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever, get the whole family in it, just so they can have those memories of some type of, I think symbol of your relationship.
For sure. And I actually sat down and told MJ the same thing, and kind of like owned my part. Like, babe, your dad's been doing this. Like, I've been the one keeping this distance. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna do that no more, because we all love you and we're gonna be there to support you together. And she was super, super happy about that. I got, so per that conversation, this is a testament, fellas and ladies and gentlemen, on how important true friendships are, because your people are going to shoot it to you straight, and you got to take what they're telling you and apply that. Oftentimes I hear you and go, nah, Nick P. Wildin', or, you know what I'm saying? It makes sense, but I'm still going to do me. I listened to you and I applied it, and it's benefiting my baby girl. And that's, my kids mean the world to me. You know what I'm saying? It's gotten to the point, P, where I haven't brought it in, I haven't put it in the air, but like, I'm considering having like a photo shoot with the mothers of my kids. Like, my boys, there's no picture of us together, like their parents, at all. It doesn't exist. We have never taken a picture together. You know what I'm saying? As crazy as that sounds, you know what I'm saying? We have 2 children together. We've never taken a picture together, man.
You better get some waivers signed. You better be released them and all repercussions.
No. We're not doing it together.
Oh, that's what I thought you were
No.
That's why I'm quiet, man. I was like, wow, you're really going for it.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Not that we ain't at that page yet. But I'm thinking, like, my daughter's mother and I and my baby girl, and then my boys and their mom. Just so we have those, because we don't have those. You know what I'm saying? And that's important. Like, my daughter has I was with my daughter's mom. I made this like real cool ass book through Kodak. Like, it's a book, maybe like, I don't know, maybe like 1.5 feet, like 2 feet. It's a big book, and it's pages of just, how it's me and her mom's like background. And the last picture, it's our first family photo, and it's her on the couch pregnant and me sitting next to her holding her stomach. You know what I'm saying? But that's that was what we were going to give my baby girl. So she knew the history of her parents. You know what I'm saying? So she has at least that.
Right.
My boys don't have that.
It's crazy. Yeah, I found the one picture that it's a physical picture. I forgot where I put it, but it's a photo of me holding Tahir's ultrasound, cheese, and his mom. And even though we have pictures, I don't know if I doubt she would have any still, but it's a physical picture that I have him keep in his drawer, just so he has something. And especially, you know, circumstances now, he doesn't, you know, necessarily see long-term interactions or anything, you know. So I think the photo is good to have, man. If they're down, why not? It's just a photo.
No, for sure. I think
I don't mean it
it'd
like
be
that.
good for my
It's a
boy.
big deal.
Right.
Deal,
No, but that's what I'm thinking. Because again, my whole philosophy is like, yo, keep the peace. You do your thing at your crib. They do their thing at their crib. We're good. No issues. You know what I'm saying? Everything is fine. But in actuality, the boys see that. My daughter sees that. You know what I'm saying?
I can tell you it's dope. It's really dope to know, like, you know, me, Sarai, and Justice Mom, we done all went out together. You know what I'm saying? We done all kicked it. Like, they got their own relationship, you know, and I'll take 2 out of 4. You know what I'm saying? Who will rock with me at least, you know what I'm saying?
Right. No, so we'll I think, you know, when I get my lady, I think I can make that happen. You know what I'm saying, with the mothers of my kids. But then again, I'm still like, in saying that out loud right now, I'm still going, nah. So this is me still having that wedge there. Like, nah, I got mine, you got yours. You know what I'm saying? But that's another thing I work on when I get there. When I get me a lady, we'll look at it like that. But I'm growing. I'm not opposed to it. But that wedge,
it's a process, man. It's a process, man. I think the more they see our growth, the more you hope, the more they get on board. I know that's what it is for me now. Like, it's not about anything that happened in my relationships. It's just hoping, like, okay, I may want this from you or want to see this for, you know, our child, but let me just do my thing, man. And when I'm doing my thing and living right and living healthy, there ain't no way nobody can see that. So you either choose to get on board or stay back and keep it at bay. And, you know, that's your choice. But let me give you this growth. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what it's about, man. The more you do that, the more they may consider doing some of these things that really benefit the kids, man.
Right. No, for sure. So yeah, we I think that was a good little. There was a couple nuggets in there people can pull from for sure.
Definitely.
And we could obviously keep this party going, but we can keep it concise right now. So I just want to say I appreciate you, bro. Like, these conversations are they're always so beneficial for me, and they really, really help me out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited about that. People, quick note: my grandma turns 84 this week, and she wants to go to Vegas. So we going to Vegas. You know what I'm saying? So we partying. We going to bingo in Vegas this weekend. So that should be kind of cool. So y'all say happy birthday to my mom, my grandma, in the comments or whatever when you whatever platform you listen to this on, because it's real dope. You know what I mean? She was like, I want to go to Vegas, and we was like, all right, we going. Ain't nothing to talk about. So
we out there.
I'm excited about that. P, let's close it up, man. Give me a final thought on the conversation today.
That's a great question about asking what is your toxic trait. I feel like if you can identify your toxic trait, you really have no excuse, because a lot of times our most toxic traits we just kind of miss. They're just so ingrained in our personality and our behavior that we don't realize how toxic they are. So if you're blessed to be able to identify it, man, you really ain't got no excuse but to kind of work on that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a blessing to be able to recognize a toxic ass trait, man. So if you recognize it, just start somewhere doing something about it.
Yeah, I think for my final thought is get in the mirror and actually ask yourself these tough questions and identify them and like P said, really, really work at it, because we don't date ourselves. So, you know, what we don't know what we don't know. And if you have to lean on one of your exes or whatever and identify that stuff through them, then so be it. But if it's going to be, it's designed to help you become a better person. Sometimes we got to have these cold conversations. And I'm pretty sure people will tell you things about yourself that you really, really didn't see. Or, you know, your toxic trait could be something different through a variety of different people. And it might be worth having those conversations, but most importantly, being able to sit down and go, this is it about myself. If you can identify it yourself, it's a big deal.
Yeah, man.
It's a real big deal. So per usual, man, we appreciate y'all. And we got a couple of our supporters send us some emails. We got a couple of good topics coming up. I don't want to mess the name of it. It's TICA. I don't know if it's Tish. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. That's the topic you sent us on. We're coming up. We want to do it, the three of us. But we're gonna do it tonight, but Belle's not here. So The next episode, we got you. And we'll go, maybe not the next episode, but one of the few coming up, we'll talk about it and we'll get it in for sure. That being said, y'all, if you got any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns, email us, hit us up at allblackmenneedtherapy@gmail.com. All Black Men Need Therapy on all the social media outlets, and we'll go from there. So do us all a favor and hug a black man today.
Do it.
And tomorrow, y'all.
Hug them hard. Do it.
We out.